And welcome everybody back to the Doc and Dog podcast. We came up with a name today on the spot. Actually, we both liked it, so we're just gonna kind of roll with that. I don't think we're gonna wind up changing it. Sounds good, rolls off the tongue well. But anyhow, welcome back. Today we have on our first guest of the show, Mr. Zack Snyder. He is a amateur fighter out of Stout, and he also runs one of our locations here in Bridgeville, Pennsylvania. We're just gonna ask him a couple questions today, just kind of shoot the shit, and yeah, and talk over some fights that happened last weekend and stuff like that. So, Jesse, do you have any initial thoughts for Zack?
Yeah, dude. So I'm interested in your origin story. Like, what made you start at Stout and start training?
Well, I didn't train at all till I was, I think, like 25 or 26. I'd gone to Thailand and I saw Muay Thai and I thought that's cool. Actually, even deeper. Do you remember this show called True Life on MTV? It was like a documentary series on MTV. It'd be like True Life, I'm addicted to eating pennies, or like True Life, I really want to be a skateboarder.
Did you have like sex with cars and stuff?
They probably have that. They had a lot.
Or was that another show? Was that like my like bad addiction or something?
Basically, but it would be whatever. It'd be documentaries on whatever. And I remember when I was a little kid, my older sister would put on MTV when we got home, and there was a True Life, I'm a Muay Thai fighter or something like that. And they just went over all the brutality of it, like how most of the other sports don't allow elbows, and that these guys fight once a week, blah blah blah. It was all about the Thai culture, the Muay Thai culture and stuff.
Dude, they start training till when they're 4 or 7. You
Yeah.
can see that in America. That's child labor here. Over there, that's living your life.
That's making a living.
Yeah.
This documentary followed some Westerner, so like some guy from the U.S. or England or something. So he was like a Farang in Thailand doing this.
And Farang guys, for anyone that doesn't know, is just foreigner in Thailand. Pretty common. They love to insult us with that all the time.
And I just remember seeing, I wasn't a tough kid or anything like that, and I saw it, and I thought, it was just immediately crossed off. I was like, I'll never do that. Like, they talk about how scary the elbows are and how they cut you and stuff. I thought, I'll never do that. I never thought about it again for, 20 years until I went to Thailand and I saw Muay Thai in Thailand. And I remembered it existed. And then I got home from my trip to Thailand, and my buddy Rocco gave me a punching bag, and I started doing my own thing. I hung it up in my parents' garage and started punching and kicking it. And I did that for, semi-consistently, to the point where I was like, if I enjoy this and I'm doing this, I should probably go and go to a real gym and learn what's up. And that's how it happened. I did a Black Friday 50% off deal at Stout in 2017. I started training with Will and Vince, and AJ Wilkins was coaching Muay Thai then, and just got really into it. Kept doing it. Thought the same things everyone does. Like, I suck at this. Is it worth it? Am I getting better at this? Am I ever going to be good at this? Blah, 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 blah.
So the whole roller coaster.
The entire journey of a roller coaster, yes. And, but I stuck with it. I knew I'd paid for the year. So then I went, F it. I'm just going to keep coming back. And then once that expired, I got another year prepay for the same reason. Like, I know I'll come back because I know I already paid for it, type of thing. And and that happened for a couple years, maybe 3-4 years. I was working a sales job for a liquor distributor, and I just kind of hated it. I don't like sales very much, even though it's been my whole career. I got laid off because of the pandemic, because all the bars got shut down, so there was really no one to sell liquor to. I got laid off. I told Logan Stout at the gym, I said, I got nothing to do. I'm coming to train. If you need me to help out, mop the mats, work at the front desk, whatever. He said, sure. He took a chance on me. He trusted me. Warren trusted me enough to give me the position. Started working at the front desk for, probably a year or so. Kept training, obviously. So now I'm 4 or 5 years deep training. Coach Will helped me get a fight in Vegas for Big Lonnie's Smokers event.
Yeah, dude.
Which was a lot of fun in a lot of different ways. It was very fun. Met Denzel Curry. Denzel Curry's the fucking man.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
Don't excuse any language, please.
Yeah.
Anything's allowed.
Yeah. I'll say whatever the fuck I want. No, just kidding.
Cuss words aren't real, they're just words.
Okay, we'll bleep them.
Got it.
Cut it. Yeah. So after that, I'd been training 4 or 5 years. I had gotten a fight. I'd already been working at the gym for some time in terms of like admin stuff, front desk stuff. And so Coach Will put me on the schedule for, teaching fundamentals. I started teaching kids classes, and it's something I like. So I really tried to get good at it and enjoy it and do well at it. And ever since then, an opportunity opened when we opened a new location. They asked me if I wanted to manage this Bridgeville location. I said, yes, of course. And yeah, the rest is history. Now I teach all the striking here, almost all the striking, along with Big Lonnie. But we have awesome other people here. Coach Randy, Coach Jeptha, both black belts, but awesome people. And so we got great programs here. Everything is going well.
Just not striking only. It's just, we have the total package down.
My striking program is sick.
That's actually
you come
super
here,
crazy.
you'll find out.
That's crazy that like it started out where you were one of the people who see like our ads that we put out now, like getting people to come join our gym, and that was you. And now you're like literally
now I'm calling the people that respond to the
right?
ads. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Dude, you know what was wild to me was how close you started working the front desk from when I started. Because I started like October 2020, and the way he presents himself, it's so professional. And the way he was talking to me, like I thought he was working the front desk for like a couple of years. It wasn't like I'm like 3 months fresh into it or like 6 months fresh into it. It was very well. And I guess, like you said, you did sales before too, but it was just funny. Every interaction you've had with people walking in, you just make them feel welcome. So,
wow, thank you.
I would agree with that. I think
Yeah.
Zach's like a very professional, like person. Like he comes off well. Like you don't feel like, oh, this is like a dinky place. Like this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Like, you can tell he runs the business well. So that's super cool.
And then it's a good segue to his nickname, like front desk Sensei, because to me, it's like he works at front desk, does what he needs to do, like shows people like, this is what we can provide you, like, a great inclusive environment, the whole 9 yards. But then also people don't think it. He's just this unreal, like just striking wise.
Yeah.
Muay Thai off the charts.
Someone say a striking sensei.
Yeah.
I wish. I don't feel that way. Recently, and I'm sure you get this, and I'm sure you get this. No offense, I'm certain you get this. I know you get this, right? You start to talk to somebody, you meet somebody new, you talk to them. I'm not even saying in the gym context. I'm saying just at a party or
coffee shop,
literally, right? Whatever, literally whatever. And you chat, and then you say like, somehow it comes up that you fight, right? And people inevitably go, "What you don't seem like a tough guy. You don't seem like blah 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 blah." And it's like, obviously we know that like you don't have to be a tough guy to be skilled and talented and blah blah blah. So I'm sure you get that,
dude, 100%.
But you get that from our teammates.
My favorite is when like Coach Will or you or someone who's working on front desk or whatever is like, oh yeah, you can ask these guys these questions, whatever you have, and then you always get an up and down. Like whenever they look at me, they just like go up and down, and I'm like, dude, I'm surprised myself. It's no big deal, but
right, no disrespect,
yeah. But it's just funny because I remember this one dude was just like, this jacked Indian guy that you mentioned. You're like, oh yeah, Jesse does it. Like this was like a couple months ago. It was like after like a Wednesday night,
man.
Yeah, and it was just funny. He looked like, wait, this guy's 5-0, and like the look he gave, I was like, dude, it's just
testament to you. Testament to the program,
especially because I started fresh too. Like it is a testament to Coach Will and like his system,
100%.
Because like I had no experience whatsoever. I was like literally ground zero. I played like I don't want to discredit combat sports, but saying like, regular sports, like regular team sports growing up. Like that's what we did. We didn't do any like boxing, martial art.
What sports did you do growing up?
When I was little,
all the way up to when you like started to train.
Yeah. So I always did soccer and baseball growing up, and I was always really good at soccer because I was like the fastest kid. Like, I was always faster than everybody.
Did you rock long hair then too?
No, like buzz cut, psycho stuff,
like hard ass shit.
Well, I don't know. I was soft. I was soft for sure. I still am soft, but yeah, I did soccer and baseball, and then in 7th grade, I made a complete switch to football and track. So, which I'm really happy about because I feel like so much of me is based on that. I wasn't that good at football and had like horrible experiences in football in terms of like my coaches and teammate. Like, just it's a very toxic environment, and our team was so. And whereas in track, our team was like exceptional, but the coach only cared that you were like working hard, being a good person, and we were just like the best team in the country in track, like, or like, I don't know, not the best team in the country, but we didn't lose a meet for like 20 years straight. Because this guy it was a guy you wanted to work for. He was an older guy. He treated you right. He understood you were a dumb 15-year-old. And like, if you were acting crazy, it's just because you're a dumb 15-year-old. It's not like you're a bad person. So he would give you patience. He was just a great guy to work for. His name's Chuck Katubi. He's the best coach I've ever had or have almost ever seen.
Dude, what's impressive about that, like not like losing a meet in so many years, you guys are like a small school. Like it's not even like you guys have like 500 kids to like pick from. Like it's so it's not like you guys have anyone that's like super, like not to disrespect like super talented, but it's like, you know how like the more people you have, more likely you might get, you guys will get
your pool's
better
at
100%. Thing for us was, so my coach, Coach Katubi, Chuck Katubi, he was like a state champion, like mile runner or something like that. So he knew all how like distance running worked. So we always had like an exceptional distance running team. Like a guy older than me named John McElwain, and he broke like the county record in like 1 state and like the 2 mile.
When you say distance, when is the start of like a distance run? Is it like a half mile, a mile?
Well, okay. So in track, you have 100, 200 that are sprints, 300 hurdles in high school. That's a sprint. 400 meter dash is 1 lap, a quarter mile.
Mm-hmm.
That's still considered a sprint. Like you should be busting ass on a fucking 400, which is crazy because you're sprinting forever for 50 seconds or however fast you can do it. 800 is the next race, which is 2 laps. And these guys run. They are running. I wouldn't say they're sprinting, but they are running. Then you get a mile, which is, you run a mile. And then there's a 2 mile. So those are kind of the distances: 100, 200, 400, 800, mile, and 2 mile.
So what would be like, because I like to run, like when I'm trying to get in like shape, I like to run. I like to run outside. I like to run on the treadmill. And I'm always like looking at my times. Like I'll look at it on the treadmill, or I'll use my, whatever app I'm using and like see how far I ran that mile or how fast I ran the mile around.
Yeah.
So like, what would be like a good qualifying time, or like a time that would like get you like win you a meet? I don't know how to say it, but
for like what race?
For a mile.
So I never ran the mile, period. I think in high school, a good mile time is like 5 minutes flat or under 5 minutes. 5 minutes. But I might be off because I never did it and I haven't thought about track in like forever. But
so you're averaging like a minute a lap.
Here's the thing. All of us, we would probably like throw up after, but we could probably go run a 1 lap, a 400 in 1 minute. Probably not actually. We might run it in like 105. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like in high school, I ran it in like 52 seconds or something like that. But now probably I could do it in like a minute. So like we could all do like around a minute. So then 4 laps is a mile. So you're not going to run that same pace for 4 laps. So it's well over 4 minutes. I don't know what the world record is. I think if I remember correctly, a good high school time is like low 5 minutes or under 5 minutes. But I'm not sure. But that is busting ass. And that's only doing it for 1 mile, not like a casual jog or going for 2 miles or whatever, That
is absolutely insane. Like, so what do you think was the best sport that you did growing up that translates to training or fighting? It can be like, did your track experience, like the way that you conditioned your body, help you? Or was it like the physicalness of football? Or was it like the coordination of like maybe another sport?
Yeah. Interesting question. Track overall definitely built me into like an athlete. Like I was so focused on track because I loved it. We were a great team. I had a great coach. I was interested in doing it in college. That turns you into a real like specimen, Football has a toughness to it. That's great. But I wasn't even that tough in football, and I don't feel like I'm that tough in the gym or in real life. Like I'm not a tough guy. But to your question, I see tons of like parallels or analogous physical movements, like physical mechanics from other sports in the martial arts we do. So like I always like to make the analogies of like your round kick and striking is like swinging a baseball bat. Like no one swings a bat with only their arms.
Yeah,
like
the hips not moving.
Everything. They step, they twist, they turn, they drive, they rotate. That's like how your round kick is. There's all these different elements of like what your body's doing. I even tell people like for getting their stance, like a new person, like what hand do you throw a ball with? And they go, this hand. Like, all right, you're going to be orthodox, okay? Or at least for now, right? And one of my favorite examples, I even posted like a crude Instagram video about it, is the high jump motion in track is almost exactly the same thing as hitting a sweep in Muay Thai. So say you caught somebody's like teep, like a front kick, and you had them there, you move to the side, step through, drive up under their planted leg. That's almost literally exactly the high jump motion, almost perfect. There's almost no difference. And I was very good at high jump, and I'm very good at sweeping people. So it's like perfect. So I think that definitely.
So you kind of had the muscle memory.
Totally. Like it was already almost before I got here. And so I love when people do other activities, other sports. I love when the kids do it because I know they're picking up things that they don't even know are going to help them in martial arts later, like help them in fighting later. So yeah.
That's super interesting.
Something I would really like. Yeah.
Yeah. We like teach kids classes together, and we always get parents, even today came up and were like, hey, like what's the best thing that we can do to help him like get better at this? And obviously I think number one would be like, if we're just talking about pure grappling, like wrestling, you should go, put your kid in wrestling or something. But I wouldn't I don't ever turn away from like traditional sports because I think it develops a lot of athleticism that some people that wind up fighting that don't have that just don't have because they never developed it. And also I think like being part of a team is like good for fighters because it is an individual sport, but like I think most people on our team, like if we need something, they'll be there because we know how to be a good teammate as well. So I think team sports are good for that aspect, as well as developing like a lot of that athleticism that you're not going to get unless you're playing like baseball or like football. Or,
I think to that point, the best sport I think overall is basketball to me because it has everything you need to do. Like you're going to be sprinting up and down the court if you need to. Defense being like footwork, like footwork is a huge part of it.
Footwork and hand-eye coordination,
and then also
athleticism,
and then the jumping, like like you're jumping for rebound, so you get a little bit of everything. Like just watching basketball to me. I always say like, oh, dude, LeBron James, he could play soccer, he could play football, and he would still dominate that. Like some of these athletes who are elite at basketball, I think they can just transferably like their skill set to play with any sport.
Here's the additional thing about basketball. If you look at like height distribution, if the number of people over 6'2" in the world is like 1% of people or something like that. So everyone in the NBA is automatically in this 1% of the world based on their height. And yet they're still, so it's like such a small population to pull from of people that can be tall enough to play there. And they're still just like ding, 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 like the ball's on a yo-yo. Like, and then let alone like what they're doing in the air, how they can pass, how they can shoot. So like, it's like such a small pool of people to draw from, and yet they're still so insanely skilled. It's fucking bananas.
Yeah. I know people hate on basketball just because like people hate on the NBA and it's not neither here or there, but I would go to the grave arguing that like the best athletes basketball, like for us professionally in the U.S.
I think also if you think about it, like if you think about the team size of a basketball team, like it's like 11 dudes, 12 dudes, and you better be one of the best in the world if you're on that team.
Plus, good point. Yeah. Plus, even though the bench is 11 dudes, half the time they only play like 8 people during the game. Like they don't even use the whole bench.
If you're even on the bench, if you're even on the bench, you're nasty.
Oh yeah. You can show up to the YMCA and absolutely astonish people.
Yeah. For sure. You have 2 fights, 2 amateur fights,
2 MMA, yeah,
and you're 2-0, and you also have some kickboxing fights.
Yeah, just 2. I had a smoker and a Muay Thai fight.
So, what made you like? What was the thought process and the transition from just training to competing? Like, what made you want to compete?
Dude, it's fun. You know, you want to do it, right? You know, if you're good at something, or you think good is relative, but if you're good at something, you want to go do it. If you're like a great artist, you should open a store and put your work up, right? So that's kind of the way I think about it.
it's a good test. That's what I was thinking. When I did my first one, I was just like,
it's a test.
Test. We'll see how it goes.
And I've been training for so long. This point of training is to the capability of fighting. So let's go do it. Let's try it. Let's test it out, you know? So, yeah.
So, like, the transition, right? Like, you're training, right? You're in a safe environment all the time, for the most part. So, like, when you had your first smoker, was it your first competition, your smoker?
I may have done, like, a white belt jiu-jitsu tournament, but yeah, I did a Muay Thai smoker.
So you're in the back getting your hands wrapped. What's going through your head?
Anytime I'm going to go compete or fight, I'm trying to chill. I'm not one of these psych myself up guys. I do the opposite. Anytime I'm feeling very anxious, and I'm fine with that.
Naturally.
Right. If you're feeling anxious, I think that's a healthy thing for your brain. If you're feeling nervous, that's just feeling anxious, but being afraid. So I think it's like the same thing.
For sports psychology, most people talk about like nervousness, like anxiousness, nervousness. Right. And it's like the way our body responds to it. There's a good nervous section. Like you need to be good nervous.
That is like,
if you're not feeling anything, that means you're going to get caught off guard. Like if you're so uber confident to like a thing where your body's just not doing it, that's bad because like something unexpected will throw you off your entire game.
Totally.
If you're super nervous, you're just like fidgeting, like you're not going to play your game plan. So that's why a lot of those like people always talk about that good nervous section.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you're going into a fight, you know bad things could happen to you. If you're a regular healthy person, that's a threat. And regular healthy people respond to threats with anxiety. It's like how our body copes with it. So if there's people out there that don't feel that, then they could still be skilled and talented, but like they're not right. You know what I mean? If you're not scared or maybe not scared is the word.
Yeah, no.
But it's the feeling.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel anything going into a fight, then there might be something wrong with you.
When you're feeling that readiness or like that anxiousness, it just means your body's ready and ready to adapt to whatever situation it goes into.
Speaking of which, I got great advice on this one time from a guy named Michael Wilkins. Michael Allen Wilkins. He actually runs a podcast. It's called Listen to Your Coach's Podcast with Coach Will Morrill. It's a great podcast. I even venture to say the second best podcast after this one. But point being, I might get hurt for that. But
Mike will definitely take it out on him.
Mike's gonna slap me.
Point being, before my smoker fight, I asked Mike, like, can you just like talk to me before this? Like tell me like what how to think, what to feel, like, you know, give me advice. He said, for sure. And he said two things, right? First one was like, I said, you know, I feel like anxious, you know, I'm excited, blah, blah, blah. He goes, that's perfect. That's perfect. He goes, you know what a lion feels like when it's going to go kill a gazelle? It feels anxious. It doesn't feel nervous about going to kill the gazelle. It feels anxious because it wants to go out there and get the job done and do what it knows it can do. It's not nervous. It's not afraid of the gazelle. It's anxious. And he, like, you know, he said it like the most Mike Wilkins ways possible. And then, so that's the way I look at like anxiousness and nervousness because of like the way he described it to me. And I think it's totally right. I'm just trying to, before fights, I'm just trying to chill. If I feel anxious, I'm fine with it because I'm not afraid. It's just a natural feeling that is not going to bother me. I just know it's there. It's part of being a healthy, regular person. If I may, the other advice Mike Wilkins gave me, he told me, he said, are you ready for me to give you some advice? I said, yes. He said, okay, here's your advice. You suck at jujitsu. You fucking suck. You suck. He was like screaming at me. And I was literally
like it's coming out and like he's mad. You haven't been
mad, very mad.
You fucking suck, Zack.
He's been mad for years at me about this.
And that's funny. That's the common denominator. All our like jiu-jitsu guys and teachers always say, yeah, Zack sucks at jiu-jitsu.
He doesn't suck.
No, because his athleticism saves him. Like, he's just like,
it's a nice life jacket to wear.
He comes to competition team sometimes Wednesday morning and he like holds his own. I don't think he sucks.
I suck.
I think I have the idea of jiu-jitsu
I don't know
like,
words.
The traditional like BJJ, Zack sucks.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean like I still think he's gonna beat most people. Like if you told me like put him up against people, like I'll put money on Zack.
No,
because here's the thing, people underrate. being in jiu-jitsu, everyone's saying, oh, someone does this, it's going to be A, B, C, D. Like, they know their levels, but Zack throws those levels out the door. So someone is more advanced, 100%, he's going to do whatever.
Right.
And then dude, the get out of jail free card of athleticism, I'll bet on that every time.
So if the levels in jiu-jitsu are fundamentals, intermediate, and advanced, I have like 3 skills from each of these categories, and that's it. Most people have like 20 skills in white belt, or like 20 skills in white belt and 10 skills in intermediate or whatever. And I just have like weird, dumb stuff that I can kind of make happen. But I'm not good at jiu-jitsu at all. But
did you get taken down at all in your last fight?
Yeah, right.
You got right back up
in the first round. No, I didn't get back up, but I was rolling around with him and reversing it. My last fight was weird because I broke my hand like on my very first punch, but I wasn't processing at the time like that I can't use my hand. I was still figuring out while shit was happening. Like, he took me down and I went to grapple and my hand hurts, and like it felt like there was Legos in my hand, like jamming around because the bone was scraping on itself. But at the time, I'm not literally thinking, oh, I just broke my hand, I can't use my hand.
Yeah, you're like, just something feels weird.
I'm just like instinct, right? And I go, oh, fuck, don't use that. And then I'm doing something else. It's like by the end of the round, I kind of like had got a little headlock on him, but then that was that. So that was the only time I got taken down in MMA. I was only 2 fights, but
I was warming up for my fight because we fought on the same card that night. And I remember watching your fight. I'm like, dude, he's like doing very well in the grappling. And I had, that kid's not threatening him. You were never in any really like danger, which
definitely not.
That's where you want to be in a fight. Like, you might not be able to like grapple with like high level like guys and like sub them, but like if you can defensively grapple, like I think that's like a skill in itself for sure.
Totally. The magic of just standing up.
Yeah. Eric Lewis says it all the time, bro. Just stand up.
Totally. That's like, that would be my style, is just being like, all the grappling should literally just be to get back up to your feet. Even though I'm not ultra confident in my striking, but like
the average UFC fan
loves you.
They would love that kind of stuff, but they want to see striking, dude.
But then I stand up and I throw hands like a sissy, and they immediately boo again. They go for a takedown, loser.
But you ate that kid up in the clinch, though. How'd that go? And why did it go that way?
I love the clinch. I think it's a big difference maker. It's like the intermediate range. You can box or kickbox out wide, or you can grapple if you truly hug tight enough. But I want to stay on my feet and grapple, and that's my thing right there. And all I really want to do is take a fight like in Ohio, where I can throw like elbows from the clinch or like knees to the head. Maybe I probably won't be allowed to throw knees to the head, but
elbows are legal.
Muay Thai, elbow. Yeah.
In Kentucky, you can do everything, but
really,
in Virginia, you can do everything.
Yeah, shit.
Virginia might be the play, because like that is the next step. I would love to see Zack do a Muay Thai fight with elbows being legal, because that he is correct. That's like it's like ask our gym, and the least favorite thing they want to do with Zack is clinch. 100%.
Yeah,
dude, no one wants to.
I'm good at
it. The sweeping too. No one loves, like, nothing feels worse when you're doing it, you're about to throw a knee, or like, yo, I got you on something, and then you just fall on your ass and you're like, fuck. And you have to get yourself back up, dude. It's the most.
So yeah, like the Pennsylvania rules, everyone knows they are crazy.
They fucking suck.
I know we have a new athletic commissioner. I'm sure you're listening to this. New Pennsylvania athletic commissioner. Allow people to do more stuff. Like, I broke my... Okay, so the point of the rules for amateur is to protect the fighters. I broke my right hand on my very first punch. So now the only thing I can do is throw a jab at this guy's head for the next 3 rounds, or knee him in the belly, which is exactly what I did. I jabbed him and kneed him in the belly like 500 times. And all respect to him. He's a cool, great guy. But if I have 1 knee to the head or like 3 elbows to the head, I'm getting a first round finish.
Like, and you would have kept yourself safer probably.
Yeah, and not kept using a broken hand for the next like 5 minutes or whatever. Like, so I get why they have the rules to protect the young, developing athletes, but like they've only ever hurt me because
I think you can legally, and it might make grappling awkward for MMA. So that's maybe what they don't do. I like where some of the states allow elbows, but they just make you wear elbow pads.
Yeah,
and I think,
I'll do it.
And I think, and I'm just being devil's advocate, I think the idea of having like elbow pads will hurt the grappling. And maybe I'm wrong on that one, Anthony, because of the 3 of us, you are the most experienced in grappling. So I don't know if like elbow pads would restrict it or not.
Well, I mean, if you think about these novice fights, when we have shin guards on, who cares if you throw some elbow pads on? Like when we do grappling at the end of our practices, like all the pros still leave all their elbows on so they can practice. Yeah. So like if the commission were to let that happen, like, and just put some good tape around your shit so it doesn't move.
Yeah, good point. Right.
I think that would be fine.
Because elbows, a good way to put it. There's a difference in the clinch 100% from going just worrying about knees to adding the elbows. And we see it all the time. Luckily, we're coached well, and will always tell us, like, yo, guys, hands on biceps, all the cues that, like, yo, even though you want to knee them, don't not protect your head.
Right. Because then whenever I'd say probably all of us, like 95% of the time you spar or train, you're not wearing elbow pads and you're not throwing them at your partner. But then when you put the elbow pads on and it's understand you're going to do it, like for me at least, I go, because I don't do it often, I go, holy shit, I can land these all day because I'm already draped on you, right? I'm going to find it over and over again. And even the thing that I found that I love is like, I'll find it, I'll get to a place where I know I have it, and I'll touch them with it and bring it back, and then they don't adjust. So I touch them again. So then it just becomes me being like, touch, 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 touch. Whereas like each one of those could be a lot harder and try to hurt the person, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And, then that's just the people I was working with. There's people that wouldn't let me do that. But I do think elbows are so available a lot of the time that, yeah.
That's funny you say that because getting ready for my first pro fight and my second one, Coach Will was like, it's not negotiable. Like, you got to put some elbow pads on. You got to like be throwing them and stuff. So the second that I started wearing elbow pads and knee pads all the time, I was like, it unlocked everything.
Yes.
You don't want to like throw knees and elbows, even showing them, like, it's hard because you don't want to hurt somebody. You don't want to cut somebody. Yeah. Like people's, if your dude gets cut, you can't fight, you can't make money. So, yeah, like the second I started wearing the elbow pads and knee pads all the time, it just unlocks like, oh, I can actually use these.
Everything.
And you throw them. So you practice them.
I need to get knee pads. I've never worn them yet, but I need them.
Coach Will says you don't need knee pads. You can still throw knees.
Well, but I'm afraid to clip people in their fucking head.
True.
Oh, the head.
Because we've seen it.
But like
Max Jarreau,
I've done it.
I don't remember if Mason kicked him or kneed him, but that was like one of the times where I was like, oh shit, like thank God he had some knee pads on because I would have cut him.
I sparred like last weekend for the first time in like, I don't know, a year or something. I accidentally kneed a guy in the face, and that's his tooth mark from like 2 weeks ago.
Fuck.
Literally, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Do you have a mouthpiece in?
Yeah. So
it's just some other tooth in there that wasn't covered by his mouthpiece.
He thinks it was the mouthpiece that cut me, but
really?
like it was like fairly deep and was like bleeding and stuff.
Damn.
And that was just an accident.
That's a him problem though, and that's like he's the one that like got kneed in the head. Like I mean, it sucks that you got like hurt, but like I kind of agree with Coach.
I'm fine.
I don't think
I'm not hurt.
No, I mean not. You're bleeding. I just think like.
Well, I'm sorry. I was afraid I broke his fucking teeth.
Yeah.
So I panicked, but he was fine.
I mean, most of the guys in our gym, like most of our like fighters, won't like go hard to the head if they're aiming for the head. So every once in a while, someone ducks and you hit them in the head,
right? And
that sucks. But I think that happens maybe 1% of the time. But a benefit of not having knee pads, honestly, is it toughens everyone up to take knees. I think for me, like one of my thing is, and Anthony can attest because he likes to try. Him, Lucas, all these people want to like body hunt me, and I'll like block and then I'll take it. But only one person in my life has ever got me in the body, and that was Patton, and taken me out. I've not been taken out by anyone else, like into the body. And I think that like just taking knees without like pads, everything you do like just helps toughen you up naturally over time.
Yeah. Speaking of which, man, damn, what was I thinking? I got sidetracked a little bit.
We'll come back to it. So you competed, the last time you competed was in 2023 at Braunberry, whatever it was, 16.
That's
the only reason I know that's because I was on it as well.
That makes sense.
I don't like stalk you.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But like, are you done competing? Do you want to compete again? Have your goals changed?
I'd love to compete, just for the sake of competing. I love competition like that. And it's fun, and if you win, that's awesome. And if you lose, that sucks, but like, whatever, it's not the end of the world. I've had like a string of injuries, so I haven't competed in a while, and I think I'm more like
did one of your injuries.
Yeah.
I don't take pride in this, by the way. I was very like sad that this happened. I've actually heard both of these guys. And
I was gonna say my first stitches was because of Anthony, and then you guys bicep torn.
This might be something cool to talk about, right? It's kind of, we're almost already talking about it, right? I don't have any grand ambitions of like going pro, going to the UFC, blah blah blah. For me, I just like what I'm doing, and it is what it is type of thing. And part of what I do is coach and be a part of a team, which are two big things to me. So I look at everyone else around me and I go, okay, I don't really care what I do. I want other people to do cool shit though. So I think that about all our young people. I think about all my students, obviously, but then on our team, I think that about people like, if I can just give you a good look or a weird look or an unusual look, or I can help you get a workout, or I can hold pads, I could teach you something new. It might not change your game or be revolutionary, but whatever, whatever. Anything I can contribute, that's what I'm down to contribute.
Which is very like an underrated value, because people like go travel to other gyms to find that stuff, you know?
Yeah, just different, like, I don't know. I mean, whatever. I'm just trying to be a good teammate. It's just like cool. That's just like a simple underrated, Zack, thing to me.
Like, I think our gym is better at it than some others. Like, everyone on the team does want to help everyone else, but that doesn't always happen. There are just like, the nature of the sport is it's 1v1. So you get some selfish people. So I think that's like awesome to see that that's your goal. But I think like it is a very underrated thing that you don't see a lot.
And I'm the same way. So I like respect that in a teammate.
But to me, that's just, I'm not like going out of my way or like trying to really do anything special. That's just kind of like what I want to do and want to have happen. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, to get back to the point, with that philosophy in mind, Anthony was training for, I believe, an amateur championship. Is that right?
That was, Yep.
And I'm literally like, that's literally okay. So what I explained to you guys is the mindset I had in my brain at that very moment. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking give him a good look. We talked about what he needs to see. I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna do this, right? Which was, I'm gonna show striking and I'm gonna shoot takedowns, which is not my real style. I would never. Well, I do that. Whatever. So I come out. This is 10 seconds into his fight prep.
Like,
right?
I'm dry.
Yeah. So what? Right. You would probably be doing 3 rounds at 3 minutes or whatever. Yeah. And it would be as hard as balls. It's the fight prep.
Yeah.
Rounds.
Fight sims. Yeah.
Fight sims. Yeah. And so yeah, I'm just going to fucking throw trash at him, change my level, shoot on him, let him work, let him beat my ass. It's being a good teammate. Okay, so I do that. I go, bop, 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 drop my level, grab him, and Anthony just sprawled on me and dug his arms down.
Yeah.
And I was reaching around him. Maybe, I don't know, maybe because I was thinking like, whatever. Anthony just sprawled and wizarded on me so hard, and my bicep just popped. 10 seconds into the beginning of his fight training on this day. And I sat back and I was like, oh shit, like what the fuck? I was kind of like in shock. And Lucas Seabird is right there, and Lucas is like, you just popped your bicep, homie. And I was like, what? Because I'm like,
I was there that day. He saw the couple, was just like,
yeah, he was like the most frank person alive. He was just like, you just popped your bicep, homie, or something like that. And I'm like, kind of like in like shock mode, like adrenaline mode. And I'm like, no. I'm just chilling. I'll be good. And he's like, no, I watched it happen. Your bicep just popped. I saw it. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I was sitting down. Then meanwhile, Anthony's like looking at me like, what the fuck?
I felt so bad.
Because he didn't do literally anything unusual whatsoever. It was just like a freak thing. And I imagine I did this, but at least people around me were like, no, good train. Yeah. So he went right back to work, which is pretty fucking wild. Like, how, you got to tell me how that feels, being like literally 5 seconds in, and I don't fucking care, obviously, but like hurting me to the point where I'm like on the wall crying, and you're just like, oh, well,
I didn't know what initially happened. I was
okay,
like,
right.
He like cramped up, or like something happened. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I finished it. I finished. I walk over, you like huffing and puffing, like, what? Like, what's going on? And you're like, I just tore my bicep. I'm like, dude, and then my heart dropped, my stomach sank. I'm like, oh my God, like, I I gave him like a legit injury. Like he needs surgery. Like
I did.
Yeah, I'm like that. I felt so bad, dude.
You really gotta feel bad. Okay, so then that's the question I'm asking is, that's round 1, and then they're gonna crush you for like 2 more rounds. What was your brain like? Where you're like, oh fuck, but then just being like, you gotta shift, right?
Yeah. I honestly just like didn't think about it until I saw your face again. Like you're holding your arm. I'm like, oh shit. Like he either broke his arm, he popped his shoulder out, or like he like tore a muscle in his arm. And then you're like, yeah, I tore my bicep. I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And on the same token, me and Jesse are sparring one Tuesday night, and it was just getting crazy. And they're like, people were dropping because like Mike and Will weren't there, so we were all just like, "Oh, it's like time to bang tonight."
Yeah, like someone literally straight up knocked out.
Yeah,
still kept it going. Like,
whoa,
yeah, and like,
holy shit, where's this?
Jesse was my last round, and I had some hard rounds with like pros, and I'm like, you know, like I'm getting hit tonight, so I'm like,
I'm about to get mine.
Yeah, so Jesse,
I woke him up.
Yeah, we started this round, and Jesse fucking cracks harder than anybody else throughout the night had just cracked.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, and I don't even remember what I threw, but I felt my right hand land on his face, and it's like one of those ones where like you hit him immediately, and like you look at him, you're like, oh fuck, dude, I'm sorry.
Whoop.
Yes.
Yeah, and I look at him, there's blood everywhere. He
just cut my lip, right?
Yeah. I gave him like a Robbie Lawler cut on his lip, dude. It was so nasty. And then like my 4-ounce glove was ripped. Like I ripped my fucking glove on his face. It was insane.
Holy shit!
I had get stitches in the front and the back, so it was like it went through.
It was insane, dude. And then I also went home that night feeling like a complete piece of shit. I'm like, because it wasn't very long after it happened.
I think it was for the same bite camp.
It might have been, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, like I am just hurting people, and I'm an asshole teammate. No one's gonna want to go with me anymore. Like I feel bad, dude.
I think what we can take from this, Anthony, bad training partner.
Yes.
Not safe. Spazzy.
Just let me put the box in the corner on my own.
Nah, of course not.
It's crazy because like literally the only 2 people I've ever accidentally hurt in the gym are right here.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And I am sorry to both of you guys.
You don't even need to say anything about that. You don't have to be sorry.
And I'm used to being like, not like the training dummy, but like doing like the same stuff because to Zach's point, like you want to mold and like help people out to like what they're fighting. And for some reason, our gym loves to like sign up and fight southpaws. And then me being a southpaw, it's like I'm training with you, I'm training with Lucas, whoever like we need to for prepping. Like I'm fighting someone that's southpaw.
You're like almost always like,
and we have a lot of, and we also have a lot of baby weights. Like we have a lot of people in the 55.
Yeah, I mean like scheduled. Like you're almost always scheduled. Like people need you.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Dude, it's like,
totally.
I felt the worst was we were doing fight sims one time, and there's like 3 people on the card that wanted me to hold pads. And I was like, yeah, dude, I don't know. I can't do this.
I literally can't do it all at the same time.
There was like one time where I offered, I've done this like, for a lot of people, but I messaged someone. I was like, hey, if you need like pads or whatever on this day, blah, 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 just like, let me know. I can do that. And they were like, nah, I got Jesse, don't worry. And I was like, fuck Jesse, fuck you and fuck Jesse. Fuck you both.
Dude,
I was like, I'm left out. I feel bad.
I felt bad because like, it would be on the Friday he's at the strip. So like a lot of the time people would be like, they'll do the open mat like 4:30 to 5:30. They're like, then they would hit me up. They're like, Jesse, yo, after boxing, like after 5:30, like, can you hold pads? And it'll be like, I would hold it for like 3 or 4 people. And Zach was literally just teaching kids class that day. Right then.
Zach's like, I would love to help.
No, but dude, hey, I'm just joking clearly, but like people love working with you, love when you hold for them. Like, and like you were saying before, you show so many left-handers the way, how to be a southpaw and then how to fight an open stance. Like you are like, you have a good grip on that, I'd say.
Oh yeah. It was to the point where like people want to do close stance against me. So they would switch, like they get to practice their non-dominant stance and go southpaw. So then what I would do is like, well, I just want to practice open stance. So I'd be like kind of a dick and I'll just go ortho and just do that. Because I'm like, oh, yeah.
I definitely feel that way. Anytime someone stance switches on me, I just do the exact same thing just to go, all right, well, if that's what you wanted, I'm going to not make.
They're not
you have that.
disrespecting me, but for some reason in my head, I'm like, yo, you're disrespecting. That's what literally goes happens.
Wait,
like
what happens when someone goes
when they switch
on
stance?
you?
Yeah, because they want to practice. Like, oh, well, I can practice against another football. So like, in my head, I always take it so personally, even though it's not like that.
You should have stayed orthodox.
Yeah, no, I used to. Like after like a couple times, I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna practice ortho. And whenever they would switch, I'd be like, I'll keep it open again.
Yeah.
Because I just had this feeling people didn't want to fight open stance. I was like, okay, I'll just.
You know what pisses you? Like, how many times you spar with Jesse?
This one?
Yeah.
57?
Yeah, dude. You know his fucking long defense?
Long guard, yeah.
Yeah, his long guard. I'm like, oh, dude, like, every time he does that, I'm like, I'm about to fucking crack him. And then, like, I can't get to his head because it's just, like, so in the way. And
it's just, like, the lever.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah.
I've seen it. Yeah, dude. That's the thing. Because of all my random mishaps, injury-wise, I haven't truly sparred in, like, forever. And so I did it like once, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I didn't work with you. I don't think. And but I just need to get back in it. It's a fun thing. As much as it sucks, I've like been away from like the Saturday sparring and stuff. Coming back, you see like all new faces and stuff like that, but like in a good way. Not like who the fuck is this guy? What is he doing here? But like, oh, this person is clearly like he has a rapport with the coaches. He has some skills. He's being respectful, like he's doing things the right way. He's not just some like random person I don't know.
I think it's also cool when like you go there and you're like, oh, dude, everyone's getting better. Like everybody is like,
yes, 100%.
able to give you hard rounds. No one's like there like getting their ass beat. Like everyone's there,
100%,
like, giving everyone good looks.
That's what I'm excited about. Like when I go back, like once I'm training again, I want to see because after the couple month layoff, I want to see how like everyone's gotten better. I have like some ideas in my head, like. People have leveled up. I'm just curious to see how it goes.
Yeah, you're the same way. What you have a shoulder injury?
Yeah. And my thing is, I just want to rehab like everything else around it before.
Yeah,
it's the second time it happened, so I don't want to.
When was the last time you fought?
Oh, dude, it's good.
For some reason I thought you had something in the fall.
We were trying, but
that was the quick 247, right?
Yeah, that was. Yep, I went to GFC and then a week later.
Yeah, that's lit. I was there. I saw that fight. That was good.
Dude, it was fun to fight. Like in my head, and the kid, like 100% respect. Like he knew my record was like 3-0, 4-0, whatever it was, and it was his first ever fight.
247 or GFC?
247.
Oh yeah.
And when we both did it on like a week's notice.
Yeah.
And like I respect that. And it was hard for me mentally to be like, oh, dude, like I have like a tough battle. And then it's funny because like he's one of the hardest guys I've ever fought, even though it's his first fight. Yeah, like,
is he young?
Yeah, he was young. He was like 20 years old. It was fun for me
to had a harder fight the week before that.
It's tough. Like
it was a good fight. We didn't get like hit. Yeah, it went 3 rounds, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't get beat up.
Yeah, both of them were 3 rounds. My thing was, I think with this one, this was the first guy that was like longer than me. So like I'm lucky, even though I'm only like 5'7". I have like a very long reach, like almost 6 foot like wingspan. So like people who think that they'll be able to go long on me don't necessarily do that. But he was the only one because he was almost like, I think he's 5'10", 5'11". So he had the same reach, if not longer than me. And so like to me, it was the first time I've been flipped on my normal script of like, I'm just gonna be aggressive, a lot of volume, a lot of clinch.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I thought it was hard. But like looking at the video wise, I could see that people said that my previous fight was harder. So.
All right.
It makes sense. Like in my head at that time, this was just like, because this was like the first time I felt I lost a round. I was like, dude, in my head, I'm like, I didn't tell myself I lost, but like looking back at the thing, round 1, I think he did win because he was like doing just a little bit more. And I was just like coming out slow or whatever it may be.
So you last competed in 2023. You probably will compete again if I had to take a guess. But like,
I want to do Muay Thai again. Yeah. I don't think I can go back to MMA, even though it's fun. But
I do foresee you, and you probably do as well, like competing at some point again.
Yeah, so that'd be lovely.
But like, what are your goals now? Like, because I see you. I mean, you're kind of my boss in a way, but like, what do you see like this gym becoming like in with your responsibility, and like, where do you want to see it go, and like, what do you want to do?
So yeah, I got a job to do here. The job here obviously is to grow the gym. Make it bigger, make it better, bring people in, make it a good place for them. But
which you do a great job of, like just the the proof is in the pudding. Like, this place is packed all the time.
We do pretty good. We're doing pretty good. And that all comes from everyone that taught me, you know? I'm just doing the same shit. Same stuff that Will taught me, Logan taught me, Warren taught me, Andy taught me, Mike Wilkins taught me. And then, like, specifically in the classes that Jonas taught me, that AJ taught me, that Tyron taught me, that Mad Dog taught me, that Brittany Bickhart taught me. We got such a great culture here. That's why it works. And we got a good culture here specifically, not more so than other places, but we have a great culture here where people want to work together, keep each other safe, get better, everything. I couldn't ask for a better situation. I was trusted by people that know what's up, and I just did all the things that they know what's up with, and everyone here knows what's up. It's like everything is worked out just because I feel like we do things the right way. So, yeah, that's my goal. Otherwise, so the goal is grow the business, keep getting better. The way I look at it is like I have pride in Bridgeville because it's our location here. It's my location here, but you know, of course, we're a whole school. We're always one team. There's absolutely no like rivalry or whatever. But I do take pride in this is the Bridgeville place. This is where people from the South Hills come, predominantly, you know. And I want to build my own fighters here. I want to build not my own fighters, but I want to contribute. I want to develop people up to become fighters. And then they work with our real fight team, Coach Will, Coach Mike, the entire team, Coach Josh Palance,
which you've already done.
Everybody. I got Josh Raznick in. I have a couple young guys coming up. It's definitely working. It's promising. It's really working.
Especially
we have jiu-jitsu competitors here
some
as
of the
well,
younger like
everything.
Muay Thai guys that you teach.
Yeah.
Like, they come to Wednesdays and like Saturdays.
Crush
And
it.
yeah, dude, you could see their progress. Like, and it's been cool to see that they are not like dissuaded when they get their ass beat. Because there's like a couple of the kids that just like got demolished in the clinch, but they just kept on coming back week in,
Totally.
and then all of a sudden
improving every time they come back in.
These guys, I tell these guys to their face, but if they're listening to this right now, I give them the most props in the world because if I was their age, I never would have pulled it off. I was athletic, I was in shape, I was fine. I wasn't like a disaster, but like just the maturity that they have to have, the hard work that they have to have. They're training with adults all the time and they're behaving like adults. They're children, they're young people. And I treat them appropriately, like as youth, but they behave with such maturity that I'm literally so proud of these guys. It like blows my mind. And yeah, a bunch of these guys are problems, dude. They are going to be freaky good because they are at a level right now where I'm like very impressed by them and they're only going to get better. And they're young. They started way before I did. You did. I think probably you as well. So these guys
one of my favorite
freaks.
interactions with like one of your students was Parker came. It was like his second Wednesday or like third Wednesday, whatever. It was like early on, like when he started and we're clinching. And I was just like, okay, so like this is one of your students. So like, not that I'm going to go like 100, like I'm not going to go aggro. We'll just like feel it out slow and steady. And first thing he did in the first 5 seconds, he like gets a sweep on me because I just like was like mispositioned. And I was like, oh, this is it. And then just like, dude, he took it like a man. I just like turned on. I just kept on kneeing him and like all that stuff. And like he's just started like he couldn't finish, but just came back to he finished the rest of the day. Like he just kept on, even though like we had to stop ours like midway through.
That kid, very special.
Dude, he's gonna be good. If he sticks with, I don't know what his goals are. He's just
he is.
He hits hard. He's like a small dude, like my height.
He's a nightmare.
Yeah,
just cracks.
He has everything, right? Mm-hmm. He has all skills. He is like a smaller person and he hits like harder than I do as an adult man. I don't hit that hard, but this is a 16-year-old that throws absolute fire trucks at people.
He's going to get bigger, stronger, faster.
He's going to be a nightmare for everybody. Nightmare, dude. I even grappled with him one day. He's never done wrestling a day in his life. He asked me if I want to wrestle. I wrestled with him. He, it was messing around, but like he can move. And I was like, this is you're a huge problem for everybody.
That's wild.
There's a lot of people that are problems. He's a big problem for other people, You're going to be.
Well, I personally want to say I think you do a great job here. I love coming to work here. I love teaching with you. I think it's like hilarious to watch you interact with kids. Like I want to, like strive for like the kids to like me like they like you. So
they love you.
That's funny.
But I love you.
So thank you, Mr. Zack Snyder, for coming on. Once again, he is one of our undefeated fighters. He is the leader of Stout Bridgeville. He's building a small militia here. And he is one of the most athletic and talented dudes I've ever seen in the room. And just a super.
You can only argue, I think, two people, him or Sky.
Yeah, him or Sky.
My money's on Zack.
Sky Lesko is more athletic than me. Shout out Sky.
I want to see him and Sky do one-on-one basketball. See
that is the test. That would be the test.
I get cooked.
Well, we could do running routes and like quarterback, wide receiver.
Cooked. Yeah. He got me. He got me.
Okay.
I'll put it up against almost anyone, but Sky got me. Yeah, fair enough.
But if you're watching this and are looking to come train, think you might want to do it one day, there's no better place than come talk to Zack. And maybe Jesse will pop in and teach a class here and there too.
Work with Coach Anthony now. Yeah. Well, that's what I say in the kids' class. I call him Coach Anthony. In reality, I just say, whatever. So